All right, so we're going to dive in and do session 1, which is called Business Alchemy. Alchemy, according to Webster's dictionary, is a process in the medieval ages where it was called turning base metals, i.e. lead, into gold. We're going to do that with your business. We're going to start with your relationship with money, because regardless of whatever your spiritual and religious beliefs are, money is a medium of exchange, and money has an emotional energy attached to it. Your relationship with money, I have discovered myself painfully, directly affects how much money you make. If, for example, I had to do some work, there's another great book called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz and Dan Kennedy. I had to do some work on my self-image because years and years ago when I started, my mother had let me, for a finance class, type up an AppleWorks spreadsheet. That's how long ago it was. There was no Excel back then. Version of my parents' checkbook. And my dad was really pissed because now I knew how much money they made. And I wasn't their financial advisor yet. I was in college. And I had that in my head as, oh, my dad works really hard. He's really good at his job. This is what he makes. And I had that in my self-image. And I literally would, when I started working in the business, I would hit that mental plateau without even realizing it. I would get close to what my dad made and back off. I would do things to sabotage myself until I learned that this was happening and was able to change my self-image to define myself as someone who made a whole lot more money. You cannot outperform your self-image. Athletes have the same example. That's why they visualize. That's why Michael Jordan visualized every single minute of every single basketball game he ever played. So, money is rational. It goes where it's welcomed. So, if you were money, where would you want to go? Would you want to go in California or New York? Or would you prefer Texas, Florida, or Nevada? Well, Texas, Florida, Nevada have no state income tax, have fewer regulations. It is much easier theoretically to make money in those states. Why is it that all these people are moving out of California and New York? Money is leaving and it's going someplace it's more welcome. There is a really great book on this called Fate of the States. I think it's about 10 years old that predicted exactly what's going on today. That these states where it was more regulated, more taxed, more issues would start seeing an exodus of people leaving and going to states that were more easier to make money in. So money is always in motion. You just have to get yourself and your business in front of it. So if you have a limiting belief like, oh, my market isn't spending right now, or geez, I ran into this issue myself last year during COVID. Back in March, when everything shut down, I had 3 webinars 3 weeks in a row with affiliate partners promoting an offering that we had. And I struck out 3 times. I normally never sell 0. Somebody, usually we have a decent percentage conversion of people who enroll in one of our programs, or at the worst case, I would sell a handful. But I was doing a proven webinar, but it wasn't working. And it wasn't working because I had not pivoted to the fear that was in the marketplace. I was selling it the same way I always sold it. And when I surveyed people, when I called them and said, hey, you were on the webinar till the end, I'm just curious, why didn't you enroll? Every answer was the same. It was, I'm afraid, I'm worried about preserving my business. I'm worried about how things are going to go. I don't want to spend the money right now. Well, when I revised the webinar to be about the COVID survival system and how you could get through the pandemic by applying the strategy I was teaching, the very next time I did the webinar, we converted better than we ever had before because I was directly addressing the fear in the marketplace. So money is always in motion. Would you rather be, if you look at Walmart, Sam Walton, back when he started, opened location after location in cities that the traditional department stores and grocery stores wouldn't go to. They were thought to be too small. They were thought that they wouldn't be big enough to support a store that size. And Sam Walton disagreed and opened Walmarts in those locations, and magically money moved to him. There are people who will drive half an hour to an hour to Walmart to save money. I have this issue separately with my mother-in-law and my wife, because my mother-in-law, if she is looking for a birthday present for my wife, she will go to like 4 different stores before looking for selection and pricing. And I have told her many times, Mom, you're spending more hours driving around and looking at stuff. It's not worth it. You might save $10, $20. It's not worth the 3 hours you spent driving around. But her mother grew up in the Great Depression. My mother-in-law, I love her dearly, she still hoards Kleenex because her mother has storied of we didn't have Kleenex. So my mother-in-law never experienced a Kleenex shortage, but her mother told her the story so many times that she now still to this day hoards Kleenex. The first, second, or third time I had picked my wife up at her parents' house when we were dating, and I walked in and I said, why do you have like 18 boxes of Kleenex? Does anybody sneeze that much? Well, we had an interesting conversation. Yes, it did. Courtney says it comes in handy when people are hoarding toilet paper. Another example of putting yourself in the flow of money is former NBA superstar Magic Johnson. He struck a deal with Starbucks and Regal Cinemas and opened movie theaters and Starbucks in inner cities. He started in Los Angeles in places that they would not open because they said, A, it's dangerous, and B, there's not enough money there. And he said, this is his quote, not mine. He said, my people will patronize your establishments. There isn't one there now. If you let me put one there, I promise it will make money. And he did that several hundred times to the point where he sold his chain of Starbucks back to Starbucks. So money is always in motion. Think about the people who live in trailer parks yet still have a new iPhone. So is your business repelling money or is it attracting money? And I promise we will get to marketing specifics. Is your website repelling money or attracting money? Normally our website attracts money, but the other day our server was down and there was nothing there. It was repelling money that day. Unfortunately, on that day, I was doing a presentation for a company that serves the Fortune 500, and they pulled up our website and said, is this your website? All it says is error, cannot connect, database connection. And I had to tap it. I say, our server must be down. I apologize. It'll be up. I'll send you, I'll text you when it's up. But that does not make me as credible. Does your office environment repel money or attract money? My father is a semi-retired attorney now, and he no longer has an office. He works out of an office in his apartment. But when he had a physical office downtown at the Statler Towers, his office repelled money. It was a giant mess. My dad is a little bit, slob is not the right word. My wife would probably use that word. I mean, there's papers everywhere. You wonder how he's ever going to find anything. It looks like a giant mess, like a mad scientist. Now, thankfully, the majority of his practice was assigned by the judicial system. So his clients he didn't have to market or prospect for them. They were assigned by the whatever public lawyer program is called, and they weren't really in a position to be choosy. But he would not have had a successful high-end divorce or estate practice because the clients walking in the door expecting to pay significant amounts of money would have turned around and left. Does your marketing repel money or attract it? So I'm going to put you in a breakout with a number of other folks, and you're going to discuss what are you doing that is repelling money right now? what are you doing right now that is working to attract money? And then we're going to come back and talk about it and dive into the next section.